But obviously I would start with acknowledging country, for that GIR acknowledges and pays respects to the traditional owners of the lands that we are all on today. I'm down on Yugambeh country at southern end of the Gold Coast, and I would like to extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, particularly in GIR and in our group, and who also may be in the audience today. So we're welcoming our first speaker, or three speakers today. Michelle has got her lightning talk, telling us all about the wonders of pass here at Griffith University. So thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, Sue. And I'm sorry. I do apologise if it is me causing this echo. I'm not sure why, and I can't fix it. So apologies. I'll share my screen. Bring up my presentation, and here we go. So, as Sue said, my name is Michelle, and I am the director of the Australasian Centre for Pass. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of country, and I've put up this slide. I didn't use the Griffith slide because I thought I'd share with you one of my other hats, which is the First Nations Tourism Council Research and Innovation Hub. And this slide comes from there. And if you have a look at the design in the top left-hand corner, it's designed by a colleague and a friend, pardon me, David Hudson. He's a Uruman and Western Yalanji man or traditional owner and elder from north of Cairns. And the scaffolding piece of this is done by an AEL student, one of our creative art students, Zoe Mazzoni. Zoe designed this water and river border and scaffolding earth. So I just thought I'd share that with you today because it's a nice connection to AEL, and I really like the work of David and Zoe's. So on to the point of why I'm here today, to talk to you about pass and the benefits of pass. Just a little bit of background about the centre in case you're not familiar with what we do. Griffith has had the centre now for a couple of years. It was 2022 that we took over hosting the centre from the University of Wollongong, who had it for about 16 years. Our core business is B2C, train the trainer. Pardon me. And there are 5 international centres similar to the one we have at Griffith, scattered around the globe. Our headquarters are in the USA. Oh, pardon me, I've got a frog in my throat. Our headquarters are in USA at the International Centre for Supplemental Instruction. Then there's another centre in Canada at Guelph University, one in South Africa, Nelson Mandela, one in Sweden at Lund, and then ours. And we all work very collegially together, meet once a month at ungodly hours of the morning, usually at 2 a.m. for me, which is fabulous. PASS was developed in 1973 by a newly minted PhD called she was Dr. Deanna Martin, and her brief was to develop an academic support program for the retention issues that UMKC were having way back then. And 51 years later, the program is still running. And it's running in 1,800, approximately. I think this number is probably a bit small now, but 1,800 plus education institutions around the globe in about 30 countries or more, pardon me, which in itself is really testament, I think, to the success of PASS. You know, in a nutshell, it works. It continues to work, and we're actually doing analysis with planning and the planning and analysis guys at Griffith at the moment, and the numbers are coming back the same as they always do. PASS works. Pardon me. It improves grades. the students that attend PASS have a clear increase in their grades. There is usually approximately around a 10% retention improvement with those students that attend. It returns a positive return on investment. It's an expensive program to run. There's no doubt about that. But the numbers keep coming back. It returns a positive investment on the money that's spent. But I think importantly, there are other benefits as well. It certainly creates a sense of belonging. Students who are in the program all say that they feel like they belong to something, that it helps them with their networking. They develop friendships and so on. And the purpose of today's presentation is it's increasingly we're seeing that it's improving transferable skills with those students that are participating in the program, either as the participants of a PASS session or the PASS leaders. So I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with this program. So forgive me if I'm telling you stuff you already know, but the program is run on a weekly basis by PASS leaders who are students who are trained. So they're recruited at the beginning of trimester by the PASS supervisor, the staff member who runs the program. In Griffith's case, we run separate programs in each of the groups. The students are hired as PASS leaders. They're trained, they undergo 2-day training, they undergo observations and feedback throughout the trimester, pardon me, and they become employees of Griffith. So there's, I don't think there's a big surprise that that through that work, the students are gaining an enormous amount of transferable skills. So what my colleagues and I wanted to find out was if the students who participate in the PASS sessions, not the leaders, but the students who are actually participating in the PASS sessions, are they developing transferable skills as well? So that's the research that we're in the middle of at the moment. Don't know where this frog came from, but I wish it would go away. So we ran a pilot study 12 months ago, and I actually ran it with 2 GIER scholarship students who I might add were an absolute delight to work with. They were fabulous. And I'll happily do that again. Thank you very much for the opportunity. The reason we ran that pilot in the first instance was we had a list of transferable skills so long that it was it was absolutely not, what are the odds that the phone rings? It was absolutely not possible for us to include every single transferable skill that had been identified into a survey that was going to be useful. So we had to identify and prioritise transferable skills. So we did that first through this qualitative study. It was only a small study. We thought, oh yeah, that should be fine. We should be able to do a couple of focus groups, and we'll get some results. We did get some results. We found that from those 2 focus groups, that the top communication skills that that students in the focus groups thought were communication skills, time management skills, critical thinking, self-reflection, and confidence, which that one took me a little bit by surprise. It's probably not one that I would have expected, but it came out from the results. So we thought, okay, we've got that to work with. Now we're ready to run the survey. So my 2 colleagues, let me take a step back. So who I'm working with colleagues from the European Centre at Lund, colleagues from the UK and a colleague from Amsterdam at this point of time. We will be bringing in all our other colleagues from the other 4 centres because the surveys will be going out nationally. So we're hoping to get a good sample size. What we've been working on for the last 6 months is narrowing down the survey instrument and making sure that we are asking students about the right or the most appropriate communication skills. So where we're at the moment, we have a survey. We have a survey out. We've done validity testing on it. My colleagues, they're the quant experts. So validity testing has been done on it. We've got about probably around 200 surveys back in at the moment from Lund and from Amsterdam and from Manchester. And we're going to then test those results, make sure that we're all good to go, that my colleagues are happy with the validity of the instrument, and then we'll be annoying everybody and sending out the survey globally to get the results back. The focus that we're looking at in the survey: communication skills, teamwork skills, and time management skills were the three priority skills that have repeatedly been coming out from experts and from the results. So it's pretty much watch this space at this point in time. In fact, I have a meeting at 6 o'clock tonight with the team. We have 2 other projects that we're working on. One is Zones of Excellence, and that's looking at past leader training and how that's being done across the globe. And the other one we're looking at is the efficacy of PASS in Southeast Asia, and we're partnering up with Lund University in Hanoi. So if anybody wants to get involved in the Lund University, please let me know. I'd love to work with you. That's probably enough from me at this point in time. I think I've gone my 10 minutes, Sue. So I'll take off my screen, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Michelle. In my head, it sounds like it's me with the echo. I might have to turn my microphone off.
I'll turn that off.
I just wanted to ask too. I'll start a question, and then a few other people might have some. But have you had a look at, or have some of your partners had a look at what path leaders end up doing? So, and maybe even from Griffith, like, what do our past leaders end up doing? Like, how does it transform their experience?
Yeah, you mean as far as when they leave and in employment?
Yeah, do they just go off and be whatever they start off in their undergraduate degree, or do they change?
Yeah, you know what's really interesting? This whole space is really fascinating. The more I learn about it, the more fascinating it is. And the results and what I'm about to tell you is a global phenomenon, which is the case with pretty much everything we do. So issues are same across the globe, and challenges and outcomes. And one of the outcomes with PASS is very, very common for students to start as a PASS participant going to PASS sessions. And we've got an example in GBS. So the GBS supervisor at the moment was a PASS student. Then she became a PASS leader, and now she's running the GBS program. The director of the International Centre for Supplemental Instruction at UMKC, that's such a mouthful every time I say it, exactly the same pathway, went into PASS and has come through the ranks. And so the next thing after PASS supervisor, we're about to start training Michaela in GBS as a certified trainer. And it's the certified trainers that work through the Australasian Centre for PASS to accredit other supervisors at other universities. So yes, there's a career pathway through PASS itself, but where the others go, I don't know. It'd be an interesting exercise.
No, that sounds exactly that sort of thing I was wondering. Do you have another question from the audience? Judy.
Sorry, turned everything off. Sorry. Did somebody else have their hand up? Maybe not. So yes, thanks, Michelle. As always, I love these programs. I'm wondering whether or not you've noticed any pattern in terms of the groups that are more likely to nominate for past leadership roles than others. Like, is it the sort of stereotyped high achievers, or is it a range of people?
Yeah, so one of the things about PASS is that one of the principles of PASS is that the students volunteer. It's totally a volunteer participation. When we do our numbers at the end of each trimester, it ranges from high achieving students to not so high achieving. So there is a good range, and I think that's one of the reasons why the program works. There's a whole lot of reasons, but I think one of the reasons is the high achieving students work hand in hand and help those students who might be struggling a little bit more. Another principle of PASS is group work. So there's no individual work in the PASS sessions. It's all collaborative and it's all group work. So having that cross section of students from high achiever to not so high achiever, I think really helps the effectiveness of the session.
And follow-up question. How do we recruit more people into PASS? How can we do that?
Yeah, look, that's a really good question, especially in the environment we're working in, the fiscally constrained environment that we're working in at the moment is going to make it incredibly difficult. I've just done some quick talking in the Barry Centre yesterday, saying, we need money to market. We need money to advertise. We need to be sending. So what we do is we send our PASS leaders out to orientations, and we hopefully can get academics on board, the conveners, to let the PASS PASS leader come in and do 5 minutes at the beginning of trimester to say, hey, come and join us. It's the effectiveness of that peer-to-peer. It's no good the convener or me or any of us going in and saying, hey, this is another really good program. It's the students saying, this is great, this works, it's fun, come along. And that's where we get it. But we pay the students, so they're hired. And so it's expensive because we're paying them for their time. Plus we need to develop the marketing materials. So that's how we get them, with a good marketing strategy. But we do need budget to do it.
Sorry, Sue, I'm probably out of my time allocation. Like, this is a really good example of how research and teaching benefit from each other, which is one of the questions that comes up all the time in reviews of research. Like, this is not an isolated project. It allows you to collect the data to lead interventions and innovations that are going to impact on these individual students, obviously, but also on retention and the university's fiscal position. So absolutely. I would really like to see a much more holistic approach taken with all of these interventions, so that at the moment PASS is working on its own, and something else is working on its own. In my humble opinion, I think it would be great if we could link all those up and leverage off each other. And as you said, feed the information, all the data. We collect a fair amount of data each trimester. Now we use it as best we can, but I'm sure, as you just said, Leonie, that there's some other initiatives that could use some of our data, and we could work more effectively together. That would be my ideal scenario.
All right, I have one last quick question and then we'll have to move on to our next speaker. Judy?
Oh, yeah, I just had a quick question. I just wanted to reflect too. I was teaching, I think back in 2016 or something, in another uni in Brisbane that tended to get students with lower ATARs, and they had the PASS going, and we had the student come into my sociology course, and Griffith Bill, and I was just so grateful having, you know, because I could also help refer the students, and it was highly beneficial. But my question was, I was really interested in seeing that critical thinking was a transferable skill, I think number 3, and just was interested in knowing what you found in your focus groups that people said about critical thinking in relation to paths. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think that's come up because the past leaders are trained, they're trained not to give answers to students. Absolutely not. So they're prompting students to reflect and to think and to problem solve and to think critically. That's the whole purpose of the session. The session is not about what to learn, it's how to learn. And so I think that's why the students have identified that. They identified problem solving and critical thinking, which means that our leaders are doing it right, which is great.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Michelle, for being our first lightning talk today. And looking forward. Oh, is it still going in the loop? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Real applause and virtual applause, I'm sure, is coming. And please, if you have time, we'd love you to stay on for our next talk. We have